Chapter 9 The Seer. If I'm a ghost, I must be dead. The girl glanced down. To the rest of the world, she might have been transparent, but her own eyes, her limbs looked solid. There was nothing she could see that indicated a death. Whether recent or long ago, no sign of accident or bodily trauma. No evidence of decay or flesh-eating maggots. She looked nothing like the Walking Dead in the horror movies. She tried holding her breath. Logically, a dead person should have no need to breathe, but she soon found herself coughing for air. She jumped up to see whether she would float or even fly. Ow. At last, the laws of gravity were in full effect. Actually, it didn't hurt very much. Her exclamation was an instinctive reaction to the slight twist of her left ankle as she landed. As for her surroundings, they looked lifelike enough. Even if she didn't recognize where she was, it was some kind of otherworldly limbo. It wasn't what you'd imagine. There were no spooky wisp of fog, no lost souls wandering the streets. She certainly didn't feel dead. Although, how would you know how you would feel? And yet, she didn't feel fully alive either. She felt very little at all, really very little, physically, very emotionally. It was as if her invisibility insulted her from the world, separating her from all experience. She kept walking. What else was there to do? Finally, a town, a few houses as horse appeared on the horizon. She quickened her pace. Her first thought was that she had entered one of those Renaissance fairs where people dress up in velvet tunics and green tights, or something just burlap sacks and breadskin socks, and says, "Heary, heary," over and over. She couldn't remember the details, but had a vague recollection of such an event. A school field trip, maybe. Did she go to school? But here and there were far and few lords and ladies, and far more peasants. Also, there were no funeral funnel cakes or deep-fried Twinkies for sale, just muddy carrots and wilting cabbages. Mangy turkeys and scrawny chickens wandered loose, running in and out of the stalls and under carts. It could have been a market day in the town square hundreds of years ago. A small thatched hut and surrounded the square looked surprisingly authentic. Perhaps it was not a fair to be a movie set. Whatever it was very crowded, and the girl kept bumping into people as she walked. There was a meat pie vendor whose pies she caused to land on several unlikely shoppers. Blueberry poor pigs, spaghetti belted loops, they complained. She nearly started a fight between two young flops in pummeled hats and flouncy collars. Clay-bearing comclocks. Mildew milk-leaving maggots. As you might guess from their attire, the flop is a fashionable young man. Some would say too fashionable, but I say there's no such thing. Momentarily she forgot about her transparent condition and asked a kind-looking woman for the name of the town they were in. Rather than responding, the woman walked straight into her, crushing her hands together. Then she spun around in confusion, cursing loudly. The girl hardly felt the impact. Her senses were still quite dull, but it was disconcerting nonetheless. She felt a bit guilty about wreaking such havoc, and yet she couldn't help admiring how skilled everyone here was at staying in character. The theater camp for adult actors could be it. Avoiding further collisions as best she could, she made her way across the market, ducking here, weaving there, hoping for some sign that would tell her where she was. She noticed that a small crowd had gathered at the center of the market. They cheered and jeered and generally seemed to be having a good time. After she might start a riot if she pushed her way in. The girl stood on her tiptoes and tried to see who or what was causing the commotion. First, she caught sight of 3 potatoes sailing in and out of view, as they were repeatedly tossed in the air. Then she saw the silvery shimmer of a belt dangled from the 3 pointed ends of a hat. Finally, she made out a weary young man in a diamond-patterned outfit, a jester standing on the box of some sort. A jester's outfit, by the way, is known as a multerly because of such the multary mix of colors and designs. He was juggling and telling jokes that were, judging by the groans of the crowd, more confusing than they were funny. She strained to listen. "What dost thou say that I have not sensed?" he shouted at the heckler. "No, I have better. I have a sense of humor." The girl felt an unexpected jolt of recognition. What was it about him that seemed so familiar? Had she been a jester in a former life? She looked down at her jeans and sneakers. It hardly seemed likely. Perhaps she was raised in a circus, bouncing on the knee of a clown. That seemed like a better possibility. If she'd spent her childhood performing in the trapeze, it might explain why she was such a skilled climber. Then again, she really couldn't imagine herself in a sparkly leotard. When she reached the quarter corner of the market, she stopped to consider her options. What to do next? She felt a sense of urgency, as though she had only limited amount of time to accomplish a specific task. And yet, for all she knew, her time was infinite. "Hail, young traveler!" The girl turned to see an old, straggly-haired woman sitting on the tree stump under the old, straggy-limbed tree. In front of the woman were a larger tree stump and served as a table and another smaller stump for the companion to sit on. With a start, the girl realized the old woman was staring directly at her. "You can see me?" The woman nodded. "I am a seer. I have what you call a second sight. Sit. I will tell you your fortune." The woman was so fair-skinned, her hair so white. She almost colorless. She was barefoot and wore plain cotton stiff. Her only ornament was a gold-rimmed monocle that magnified her pale, withery blue eye. "I don't really believe in that," said the girl, backing away. "In what? Sitting?" The girl hesitated. Who knew that what she believed in? And what did it matter anyways? She might not believe in ghosts, but that didn't mean she wasn't one. She felt in her pocket. "I don't have any money." The woman smiled as if they were a griming joke. "Your money is no use here, I think. Please." She mentioned to a smaller tree stump. "What's your name, child?" "I am," the girl stammered, sitting. "I'm sorry, I don't know who I am." "Don't worry, the cards will tell us." "Am I dead?" The girl waited, tense. She was not at all certain she wanted to hear the answers. The seer peered at the girl through the golden monocule. But the seer's left eye was closed and her right seemed never to blink. "I don't think so," said the seer, finally. "In my experience, the dead are not much more sure of themselves. They can be very tiresome that way." "So then I'm not a ghost?" asked the girl, relieved, but only just. "There are many kinds of ghosts. Only some ghosts are dead. Others are simply the appearance of someone far away. A few even come from the future." "The future?" repeated the girl, growing more confused by the minute. Looking down, she noticed the multitude of concentric rings that made up a large tree stump in front of her. From somewhere in her past, she heard a kindly man's voice, whose she couldn't remember, telling her that each ring represented the years past and that you could read the age of the tree by counting the rings. This is what is known as the science of dendrology, but of course you knew that already. What year is it anyways? She asked. But the seer was no longer listening. Her eyes were closed and she was passing her hand over the deck of cards. The cards were well worn and decorated with the pattern of moons and stars on their back. The girl watched the seer arrange 10 cards face down on the table. The girl rubbed her eyes. Unless she missed it, the seer had never once touched the cards. Her hands are simply hovering over them. Only after the middle card had been flipped over, as the star stirred by the breeze, did the seer open her eyes to pick up her monocle. The card was delicately painted with the picture of a slender youth standing against the backdrop of a billowing cloud. He was thrusting his sword forward while looking back over his shoulder. "Ah yes, the Page of Swords," said the seer, "a stealthy card, the spy of the tarot deck. A natural for any invisible girl, yes. If it means what I think you have been sent to do this world on a mission. A mission? What kind?" Ignoring the question, the seer held her hand over the second card. By the time her hand moved away, the card had flipped over and was laying face up across the first card. The second card bore a compass-like design, framed in 4 directions by the animal of a crown on top by a sphinx. "Behold the Wheel of Fortune." The seer traced the circle in the air and then a X. "You are at a crossroads. Which direction will you choose? This way you will follow the angel by the way of the eagle. This way you will follow the lion, the way of the bull." "How am I supposed to know what that means?" asked the girl, staring at the card. "Some say the wheel means good luck, but do not trust it," the seer said dismissively. "Your mission will go well or it will go badly. What is certain is that the wheel will spin again." "Thanks, that's really helpful," said the girl, who had lost her memory but not even evidently her tendency forward towards sarcasm. "The card can only tell us what we already know," the seer cautioned. "But I don't even know where I am supposed to be going. I don't know anything. Patience." The seer turned over another card. Or what that is, a card turned over itself. This was decorated with an Egyptian motif. It showed a somber-looking woman sitting on the scroll, in her hand a crescent moon at her foot. "Here we have your destiny, the High Priestess. She is the bearer of secrets. It is perhaps the secret that you seek." "Yes, I think myself it is," said the girl slowly. "The secret." She didn't know where the thought had come from. Nevertheless, the small flame had been lit in the darkness of her mind. The secret. She was seeking the secret. "Yes, secret, yes," said the seer cryptically. "That is what we all seek in the end, isn't it?" The seer raised her hand slightly and another card was revealed. Unlike the others, the face the girl rather than the seer. The girl read the inscription, Ace of Wands. "The 4 cards have been taken back to your distant past and the foundation of your journey." The seer shook her head sadly when she looked at the card. "See how it's upside down? It means an old wrong must be righted. You will never rest until your wand is returned to the rightful position." "What's wrong? What wand?" "It may be that something has been stolen from you, or perhaps you have stolen from someone else." The seer shrugged. "Then again, sometimes a wand is just a wand." "You mean like a magician's wand?" "What other kinds are there?" The seer nodded in satisfaction. As another card turned over, Here a robbed man stood, holding the wand aloof in his right hand while pointing downwards in his left. The magician, it read. How else could you have gotten here, if not by magic? How do I get out of here? That's what I want to know, said the girl, who was growing more irritated by the minute. Or do I just click my heels and say there's no place like home? As above, so below. In the words, so in the other. This is the way the magician pointed upwards and downwards at the same time. I cannot tell you how to get from here to there, only that your actions in this place will reflect in that one. 6th card turned over, and for the first time, the seer looked surprised. The fool. But surely. What? Why is that weird? The 6th card signals your goal of your quest, and yet the fool is always the questioner. You. The seer paused thoughtfully. Perhaps it is you yourself that you must find. The girl looked at the card, and now it was her turn to be surprised. What is it? asked the seer. A minute ago I saw a guy, a jester, who looked exactly like this. I kept thinking he looked familiar. I think I just realized why. The seer raised her eyebrow. The cards are more helpful than you expected. Yeah, maybe, the girl admitted. Hey, what's your name? In case I wanted to find you again or something. Me? My name is Clara. The most people call me Cassandra. She laughed. They say too often people predict disaster. Cassandra, Cassandra, girl repeated in her head. I see the prophet's name. I know you. You are a student of Greek mythology. The girl smiled. Not really, I just know the name really well. That's all. Cassandra. Her name was Cassandra. The magician, the jester, the secret. Her memories fell into place, one after another, like cards of the deck. She was indeed on a mission into the past, a mission to find the jester, to find the secret, to find herself. She was the secret keeper. They had told her it was time for her to learn what that meant. When Cassia's attention turned outward once more, the seer was gone. Her tree stump perch was bare, and so too was the tree stump table, save for a lone fly that flew away as soon as Cass noticed it. Had she only imagined the encounter? Had it been all in her head? With all due respect to Cass, I've never understood the reasoning behind the expression only in your head. After all, something can be located in your head and nevertheless be real. Your brain, for instance, is inside your head, unless you're completely brainless. As Cass's eyes focused on the stump in front of her, the rings appeared to vibrate. Was she dreaming, or was there fewer rings now than previously? Did that mean that she had gone further back in time, or maybe the rings had represented her future and now she was solidly in the past? She was about to conclude that she was slowly going crazy, and she had imagined the tarot card reading and the chance in the tree stump, when she noticed a shiny object on the ground in front of her, the seer's golden monocle. Had the seer left it for her intentionally? If she looked into it, would there be what the seer saw? As she picked up the monocle, Cass noticed something odd about it. It was made of 2 lenses, one on top and the other. It was in effect a double monocle. The double monocle that gives you the second sight. That makes sense in a way, she thought. With only the slightest bit of nervousness, she could see. After all, it wasn't there already. Cass held the double monocle to her eye and looked blinkingly around through it.